Hey guys, what is up, and I welcome each and every one of you to a new League of Legends video. So today I want to do kind of another news-ish video talking about a bunch of things coming to League of Legends and some pretty big changes, some new kind of mini teasers for the next new champion, and ADC changes as well. So with all that being said and done, guys, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit the like button. Also, this is going to be a discussion video. I want to hear your comments down below, so especially for the AKALI's changes and stuff, make sure to leave a comment down below with your opinions, your thoughts, and all that stuff, because we want to hear, and I'm sure Ryan wants to hear maybe what people kind of want to do or think about the changes. So let's talk about the first thing, which is of course going to be probably the biggest thing and the most important thing, more or less, and that's going to be AKALI. Now AKALI is an interesting champion to say the least. So AKALI, let me just quickly double check this right now really quickly. She is a champion that is very, very annoying to face, correct. However, she is also not really actually that OP. So if you look at this, she has a 42% win rate for mid lane AKALI right now, which is apparently the lowest in the game, especially after the recent nerfs that hit her once again towards her W, right? So despite her having a low win rate, she is still banned exceptionally often. Lowest win rate, highest ban rate, right? Why is that? Well, there's one simple reason. It's her W, right? Even though the champion herself, honestly, isn't that strong, man. She's really not that OP. Her W makes her annoying to face. It's not even necessarily that her W is OP. It's just, it's very not fun to face, right? If you're laning against her in the mid lane and she's tower diving you, you know, her W is just exceptionally good at tower diving. So as a quick example, I guess off of my own video, you know, sponsoring myself here apparently, check it out. So you know, it's just a quick example of how she just tower dives like any other, like no other champion can do this as well as she can, right? Her W completely de-aggroes tower. It gives her the truest stealth in the League of Legends, like period, to where the tower can't even see her, right? So it makes tower diving easy. You keep canceling tower aggro over and over, blah, 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 right? So that's the biggest offender in her kit, right? That's what makes AKALI have the highest ban rate, even though she is still apparently the lowest, or one of the lowest win rates in mid lane at least, right? Let's check out top lane. Maybe top lane, yeah, top lane second lowest, right? So it's pretty bad. But why is her ban rate so high still? Well, again, her W. Now, speaking of her W, let's take a look. So Riot over here apparently are actually thinking of reverting or changing her W to what essentially it was way back when, prior to the rework. So someone, SpotterAx over here comments saying how, you know, is any updates on the Aurelian AKALI follow-up work? I heard you guys were re-evaluating her true stealth. Of course, true stealth referring to the fact that her W even hides her from things like towers. So, Medler responds with the following. We're looking at it. Opinion is split internally on whether supporting stealth under towers is the way to go or not. We're doing some experimentation with a set of changes internally right now. Update to follow once those have helped resolve which direction we'll go. So, I mean, Riot at the moment is actually experimenting with changes to her W to where no longer will you have the true stealth. You'll just have, I guess, more or less regular stealth, right? So, if you're on a tower, well, you'll probably still be seen. If you're not on a tower, it's going to function literally the same as AKALI's W did back before the rework, even though it'll probably still have that donut shape kind of ring when you use the W. That won't change. The look of it won't change. It's just that, I guess, the how it works and how it functions will change. So Riot, again, they're thinking of reverting AKALI. They're thinking of changing the rework back to what it was, at least for her W, and make it so that you cannot do those crazy things that we just saw over here under tower, where, let's be honest, I mean, okay, that's not okay. Let's just go ahead and ignore that. So where, you know, it's just it's how do you what do you do? Literally, what do you do? What do you do? You don't. There's nothing you can do. She does whatever she wants in her tower. She kills you when she wants in her tower. The tower can't even help you at this point. So it's a little bit frustrating, and that's why she's banned, even though she has one of the lowest win rates. So let me know in the comments below, guys. What do you think about this? Do you think AKALI's W should be reverted back to what it was? Do you think it's fine the way it is? And, you know, just let me know which one you kind of are cheering for or rooting for, or your opinion, and let me know, of course, why as well. Now, if you also go to like Reddit threads, for instance, there's a Reddit thread talking about this over here. The hell's this? Talking about, you know, literally what I just talked about, right? This exact post right here. And pretty much everyone talks about how they hate the stealth. The amount of auto attacks and motion cancel due to AKALI going to that stealth is too high, apparently. Okay, so that's a little bit of a different topic, but I mean, that is kind of part of it, I guess, even though I'm not sure if that specific part affects it. And people are essentially just kind of upset and wondering what are the arguments, because again, it did say that they are split internally, right? They are split internally on whether supporting stealth under towers is the way to go or not. And people are kind of wondering, well, what could possibly be the explanation or the reasoning behind supporting the fact that her W hides her from towers as well. Like, why would that be a thing, right? Like, what are the arguments for that? Because the arguments against that are quite obvious, right? It's actually just obnoxious to face. Why would it be a good thing? So that's kind of what people are you know, a little bit upset about, I guess, on Reddit. So that's something to consider. And I want you guys to let me know down in the comments below as well. Now, the next thing I want to move into is going to be the champion roadmap. That this was released on August, right? I'm sure you guys remember this. This is the one that revealed we have Nico here. We have the Nunu rework, which we already have. We have the Ezreal rework. I think this one's talking about the Kayle Morgana stuff. And then, of course, we also have this chain champion. Now, I'm almost positive. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm like 99% sure that the next new champion coming out is going to be this champion right here. And then we're going to get the Kayle and Morgana rework. Now, again, I did go to Riot. However, I purposely avoided looking at any of the new changes other than Nico. So I don't actually know anything about this champion literally at all. So I'm in like, you know, the same kind of confusion as you guys are, if you will, because I like to be kind of anticipating the champion releases. You know, it makes it more exciting for me as well. So I purposely avoided it. And yeah, so it's taking a look over here. So Medler did kind of give us a bit more information about it. So he says that Nico is in the last patch of the year, and we will have another new champion before K&M, being Kayle and Morgana. So it is highly unlikely that the next new champion, or that Kayle and Morgana is going to be this year. So essentially, he did say that another new champion will come before Kayle and Morgana, which the only possible explanation has to be this chain champion, right? It could be no other thing. Let me go ahead and increase the music a little bit here, boys and girls. So checking out here, he talks about, I'm talking more about our plans for Kayle and Morgana in the next roadmap. Now, he doesn't say when the next roadmap is. Actually, maybe he does. Hold on, let's see. Hi, Reeve. Will we get the early 2019 roadmap after the next champion or before it is revealed? He said after. Okay, so apparently the fact that we're getting the next roadmap after the next champion is revealed, which again should be this guy right here, or girl. I don't even know. I'm assuming it's a guy. Maybe it's a girl. I don't know. It's hard to tell, actually. I'm not sure. It'll be after. So that means that this champion should be coming out late December, maybe some teasers, maybe early January, if I had to guess completely, right? That's what it seems like. So people asked him to get a bit more information here. So can we expect the next roadmap at the end of January, beginning of February? And he says he's not going to say, because if he does, that'll reveal when the next champion is going to be essentially coming out. And he's like, oh, that wouldn't be any fun, would it? Blah, blah. So, I mean, I personally think it would be fun, but that's just my opinion. So there's also another post that I tried. So I literally spent like an hour at least just literally sitting here trying to find the post. But there was another post that stated that the next champion that gets released is going to kind of, quote unquote, like shake up Demacia. Of course, Demacia being Garen's place, you know, Lux, Jarvan, is going to shake up Demacia. So that tells me that this champion is either a Demacian champion and or it's a champion that is locked up in Demacia, and once this champion is freed, it's going to shake things up and stir things up. I mean, that's kind of more lore related. I don't know how many people care about the lore, but that's something to consider as well, which I think is pretty cool. So kind of little extra small teasers here or there for the next new champion, which is going to be most likely this person right here that we can expect either late this month or early next month, I would assume, at least for the teasers to start, which would be pretty sweet. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is going to be kind of the state of AD carries, but I need a quick sip of water, guys. 1 second. Oh, delicious. All right. So, AD carries at the moment are quite bad, right? Obviously, a lot of people think our AD carries are probably the worst role. Riot has actually released some stats saying that AD carries are across the board in every region agreed upon that it is among the worst role in the game, if not the worst role. So Riot talks about it here, talking about essentially buffs and just changes coming to the AD carry and the marksman role over here. You guys can see, which I will link down below. You guys can check it out for yourself if you want to. So he talks about all these issues, I guess, more or less with them, right? He's saying we believe some marksmen are currently strong with the appropriate agency and satisfaction. Lucian, Ezreal, Misfortune, Jhin being good examples, right? Blah, blah, blah. But then he talks about, so what are we planning on doing, right? So for 8.24b, which is around the 20-ish of December, we'll be looking at some specific marksmen and putting them some power into them. So candidates, for instance, are things like Corki, Xayah, Ashe, Vayne, Tristana, Jinx. One tactic we're going to look at for a number of them is giving more starting MR, reducing their vulnerability to harass in lane and magic damage. And magic damage based burst early / mid game. So against supports, I have magic damage. Against maybe an AP champion that's playing the quote-unquote marksman role and things like that. So that's going to help them out just a bit. Then you have for Xayah, we'll be looking at whether she or Rakan are too dependent on each other power-wise, so they might want to maybe buff them separately so that they're more, I guess, powerful by themselves, but not too overpowered, I hope, when they're together, because they're really, really OP when they're together. And then following that, they're also going to be looking at crit items. Now, this is the thing that I'm sure a lot of AD carries have been kind of begging for. They want the crit items to be better. They're not good enough, right? So let's take a look at what the ride's going to do here. So we'll be looking at crit items, details to come soon-ish once we've got them. A core goal will be to make crit items feel more satisfying to most users, given satisfaction has been a long-running issue regardless of the balance state, which is again most issues, the biggest issue rather, that most AD carry players have, right? We'll also be looking at a marksman offense versus defense. Potential approaches include making partial defensive buys decent choices early on. So example, an early BT or an early hex drink as a decent choice rather than too often a trap. Might also involve further adjustments to base defensive stats. And we'll be looking at power curves on some marksmen. This is also something that I think people are complaining about. Power curves on marksmen. In particular, whether we've got champions who'd be better off if they lost a bit of power late game, which they don't always get to access in exchange for better early and mid game, because they talk about how the power spike and all that stuff and how the AD carries work. It's just very random. They're useless, and sometimes they don't really get the chance to be useful because the game's already decided, because like maybe the jungler is already so far ahead that by the time the marksman just barely farmed up their like 2 or 3 items to finally turn online properly, it's like too late already, you know, things like that. So they want to like adjust all that and look at all that. So a lot of AD carry changes coming in. I'm not really sure why I had this page open. I mean, they're increasing the attack speed over here, and they're kind of changing Halo Blades a little bit here, but that's about it there. And yeah, so there you guys have it. That's it for this video. Kind of a news video. Again, AKALI changes. The revert is potentially coming to League of Legends. Riot is considering changing her W back to what essentially was before. Let me know in the comments if you think that's a good idea or not. We have some extra little information about the new champion coming out, which I'm assuming is late this year, early next year. And of course, some changes coming over to the AD carry roles. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, hit the like button. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you for the next one. Peace.